Hello folks, welcome to a brand new week. We are on our way to 20,000 subscribers. There is no rest here. We are on our way. So if you want to help me get there, then please make sure you subscribe. Use the little box down below to subscribe. It means nothing to you really in terms of money or anything like that, but it means a hell of a lot to me. And it really does help my channel grow and helps the algorithm see me and say hello. If you think my videos would be good for people that you know or around you, then please make sure you share my videos over there. That'd be awesome. And as we go into the festive period, please make sure you're using the promo code Northern Exile down below at the online store of Composite Games to get yourself 5% off their stock at checkout. They do everything from Games Workshop to D&D to all sorts of things. So head on over there to get yourself some really cool stuff for Christmas. So let's jump in, shall we? Havran says, is it Havran or Havran? I don't know. Hey North, you can call me Havran. That means raven in my language. Okay, what language is that? What language is that? Check. Okay, cool. That means raven in my language. A nickname I have had for a very long time. This is not a hobby nightmare nor a hobby win, just a short part of a life story of a guy new to the hobby, or sort of. Okay. I hope you don't call yourself Raven to your friends. I just, it's something about me and like guys who give themselves nicknames. Always trouble. Nearly always. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're always saying really cringe things whenever I'm around them. I don't know why. You may be a perfectly lovely guy, you know, don't get me wrong, but like, yeah. There was a guy around me back in the day whose nickname was Pyro. Yeah. And he insisted that you call him Pyro. We didn't get along that well, put it that way. Anyway. I got the nickname when I first met my group of friends, after a few years of bullying. Listening to rock and metal bands like Children of Bodom, Him, System of a Down, Linkin Park, The Rasmus, oh my god. Oh my god, you was, okay. I believe you can guess my army right away. Yeah, Ravengard. I'm guessing Ravengard. I'm guessing big old emo Ravengard. Scene Ravengard. No, I don't listen to Paramore, but other than that, yeah. I'm building a 3,500 points list of Ravengard. There we go. There we go, straight away. I am an artist. I play several musical instruments. I'm a writer, video maker. I have my own recording studio for my own stuff, and do a little bit of indie movie making, wood carving, painting, and painting minis, obviously. Where'd you get the time in the day to do all that stuff? I remember listening to one of your videos when I was running SDI cables across the hockey stadium seating rows for a figure skating international finals contest. Our company was live streaming the next day. You said artistic people who do different arts are better at filling blanks than painting from scratch. I was never good at painting from scratch. I bought a course on drawing cars, but I wasn't very good at it. But doing dioramas, painting minis, I am good at that. I will attach some photos at the end to show you my first models, okay? I know I get shouted at if I don't show the models, so let's show some models, shall we? Where are we? Here we go. It's adorable. Even your sign off even has a raven on it. That's adorable. Let's have a little look here. Oh, I think I've seen these. I think I've seen these in when we were talking on Discord once, and we asked people to show our show some of their models. Okay, cool. I think I've seen some of these. I definitely remember seeing them. Anyway, let me just upload these. Bonk. Bonk. There we go. Image. Upload image. Where are you? There's one. Very nicely done. I like that. The purple bases, okay, so I did this back in the day. I used to do like colourful bases, you know, like blue or red or green around the base, you know, around the actual bottom of it. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. I think since then I started doing black, and the models just pop that much better because it looks like the bottom of the base disappears, because obviously, you know, the base is supposed to be where they're standing. If you make it a different colour, it looks like they're standing on a model base, which, you know, kind of takes away the point of doing something realistic and cool. That's just me, though. Here's another one of your Ravengard. Now, this one I really like. This one's cool. I like these. I like the colours. I'm a big sucker for purple, as those of you who have seen the Iron Talons will no doubt know. Big sucker for purple. Love me a purple model. I'll leave those up for the remainder of the Hobby Nightmare. Let's jump in. So, how did I get into the hobby? Well, as a true Ravengard, I was a depressed teen who found escape in the post-apocalypse. Stalker, Metro, DayZ, I loved the daily grind for food and supplies in the world after the collapse of civilization. I spent hundreds of hours in those worlds, and a few years ago, I found out that there is a board game based in the Stalker's zone. I bought it right away. It was special, one of the few games that can be played solo, and it had minis. Do you know what? I can sort of see why an emo or somebody who's really depressed would get into post-apocalypse. It's not me though. I need to be in a good mood to do post-apocalypse because I find it too depressing. And North. Try to find anything online about painting minis if you don't know anything about painting minis. Could you guess what minis-based game was all the YouTube results were full about? Yeah, Arbor loved 40k. Luckily at that point, I already knew a guy who played 40k. I met the fella a few months before at a local geek bar, as he was playing a game there, and I took the contact just in case, as I thought it was really cool to see all the tanks and troops. So, with a few minis, I started painting as a way to clear my mind after a bad breakup after a toxic relationship. I finally was able to end it after a good 5 failed attempts over 13 months. Jesus, 5 failed attempts at breaking up with somebody. How? Say we're through and then walk away. And if she keeps coming back, say no. Like, we broke up for a reason. Anyway, at the time, I played Dark Souls. Ah, that's why! You're a glutton for punishment. That's why. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. At the time, I played Dark Souls, so my first mini was a cheap plastic knight I made in the colour scheme of a Solaire of Astora. I recently bought Inquisition Crusaders in resin. I'm going to paint as Solaire and Artorias. Okay, means nothing to me, but moving on. But my first 40k mini was our Beaky Chapter Master of the 19th Legion, Caven Shrike himself. Bear in mind, it was my third painted mini ever. I got back in touch with my boy I met earlier and bought a drop pod off of him and ordered a box of Sterngard veterans straight from Games Workshop with the Ravengard Codex supplement. I was happy, very happy. I was slowly learning about the lore and changed jobs a few times. I had a corporate job doing cybersecurity for Ernst & Young at the time. I met the 40k guy. I quit as I wanted to do something more creative, but then the plague came in 2020. I got together with my ex, had 700 monthly as government aid, unemployment benefits for 8 months, which is more than median pay at the area in which I lived, and started doing video work, editing for some entrepreneurs, social media stuff. I was barely earning enough to support myself, but I had to work from home, as she lived 3 hours away, but after we split, I could get a 9 to 5. I applied for a sales job at Telecom, selling contracts, internet, TV, phones, etc. My God, dude, you got bigger balls than me, man. I could not do telesales. I did it once, and I felt so bad, I ended up telling people not to buy our products. I was just like, yeah, I'm really sorry for interrupting your dinner. Do you know what? You know, do you need a new set of double glazing? No? Yeah. Which company are you with? Oh, yeah, stay with them. We're not very good. All right, bye. I was not very good at that job. I got sacked after like 2 nights. 2 evenings of doing this job and I was sacked. I needed experience in sales in order to further my own business. At the time, Games Workshop started Warhammer Plus and I got my Assassin. But then, I got an opportunity to really kickstart my business. I started a company with my friend. We got a place and started a commercial video / podcast studio. It didn't last long though, due to the location issues, and I had to go back to a 9 to 5 as a Lidl cashier, working video gigs on the side, editing some stuff, doing an occasional live stream or camera work at festivals, or some shooting / editing after movies. But as life usually does, nothing stays the same for too long. I lost my job due to staff cuts. I moved to the capital city to a different Lidl store. That's when my hobby story really took off. After 3 months in the capital city, I quit my cashier's job as I got a new one, in the professional live stream studio. We've done a lot of amazing gigs. I shot a global commercial and also acted in it, did some lighting work, shooting music videos, was part of many crews at many amazing projects. Seeing as there is no way to have this type of experience in my birth city, that is 2 hours away by car and by highway trip, I sold it and rented a 3-bedroom flat. Up until now I was paying mortgage for my place and also rented a room from a friend in the capital city. And since I had a nice pile of cash after the sale, I invested almost €1,000 into the army, buying my 3,500 points. Okay, here's a list of everything in it. I'm not going to read all that because we're going to be here for a long time. But the question is, why do I have so much stuff? 3,500 points. And almost none of it is built or painted. Well, that's because for the past 8 to 10 weeks, I worked a 60+ hour week. Yes, it was doing what I love, but nonetheless, it was way too much. I neglected friends, potential clients, my own sleep and healthy food, just to work more and more and more because I used it to escape myself, avoiding fixing what is broken in me. Now, well done for coming to that realization on your own. That's an incredibly hard thing to do. When you've got a job that you love, it's so easy to throw yourself so far into it that you can't see the wood for the trees. Do you know what I mean? It's so easy, man. Well done to you for at least admitting to yourself that you had a problem there. Okay. Only when I puked, threw up at 6 AM first thing after arriving at work, after 4 hours of sleep, after 15 hours in work the day before, 6th day in a row, I realised there is no way to continue living and working like that. That's why I wrote this email only now, not 6 weeks ago as I promised. I simply didn't have time. I got myself a new job, earning nearly double what I earn now, doing very similar work. Still in the AV field, but it should be a lot less hours. In October, for example, I clocked almost 220 hours at work. So right now, I'm finishing my last production days filming for my current employer before I transition into an external contractor for them, and probably from Monday, I should start working at the new place. Or maybe next week. We will see when I'm free from this current project. Having much more money for the same work and also much more free time to play my games, build and paint minis or meet with friends, I hope that this new role will allow me to finally, after a very busy year, to once again start creating music and music videos. But now, with a lot more production value, show lights, LED walls, etc. We'll see. And you, North, you were a great help along the way in the last 2 months. Your videos helped me stay focused on the goal when I was tired, kept me entertained during morning and afternoon rush hours. Thank you for your service, man. The work you do for this community is underappreciated. Have a nice cup of tea and hopefully I'll be able to send you a story of my first game soon. Cheers. So, here's what we have with Overwork. And this is a very controversial thing that I'm going to say, and a lot of you will say that's a load of nonsense, and that's fine. That's fine. This is just how I am. If you don't have time for a hobby, your job sucks. I'm just going to say it plain. Where everybody in different forms of employment can say that, right? If you have a job that doesn't let you do anything else but the job, as in if you can't have a hobby because you've got a job, your job sucks. Okay? Family should come first. Everything else should come... Your job should be important to you, yes. But at the end of the day, man, if it's a normal job where you're working for somebody else's gain and not yourself, if you've got a 9-to-5 job and it stops you from doing the things you want to do in life, your job fucking sucks. And you need to go and get another one. That's just the long and short of it. I'm really sorry if you come to that realization through this video and it jarred you a little bit, but it's true. If you have a job that you're working for somebody else's gain, you may be getting paid, no problem. That's no problem. But if you're getting paid from a job and you're doing hours and it's far enough away that you can't do any hobbies, you can't go out with your friends, you can't do the things that make life worth living, your job fucking sucks and you need to quit. Alright? And you need to do what this guy did. This guy quit when he had nothing else to go into. It's a massive myth that you won't get another job if you leave your current job. You will get a job. You may have hard times. You may have hard times, or at least in those hard times, you'll have time to look and examine what's important in life. If you've got kids, you can hang out with your kids. If you've got hobbies that you've neglected, you can start to reconnect with your hobbies and find out what you want to do in life. Again, you need to be responsible. So if you're broke, then make sure you get some savings put away before you do this. But always make sure that you're always getting your CV out there anyway. You're getting your resume, your CV out there at all times. You're sending it out, even if you're happy in your job. Even if you're happy in your job, apply for other jobs. It's the best practice you can get into. And if people find out you're applying for other jobs, say, yeah, I'm keeping my ear to the ground because, like, I can do more for this company. I can do more for any company. So, yeah, I've always got my ear to the ground for possible opportunities for me, yes. You know? Make sure you're always getting your CV out there and you're always applying for other things. At all times, even in the good times. Don't rest on your laurels. Even in the good times, apply for other things. What this guy did, what Havren did, was correct. Like, he was miserable in his job, so he left. He said, look, I might need to sit on unemployment for 5 or 6 months whilst I sort my fucking life out. Mate, guys, I've done it. I've done it. I've gotten to the point in life where I've gone, look, I need to go. I need to start again. I need to move back in with my parents for 4 or 5 months. I need to reassess where my life is going, and then I need to work to put my life in that area where I want it to go. And even then, I went somewhere else. So I came back from London, and I said, look, I want to readdress my life, sort out my work-life balance, and make sure that I'm not burning the candle at both ends, and I'm going to live a good life wherever I go, right? So I did that. I came back home, and I said to my mum, like, I want to kind of move in with you for 4 or 5 months. She said yes. Ended up being like a year and a half, but you know, it's neither here nor there. So I went back there. I had no job, right? I started working a bar job in the local area so that I could then go and do my teaching degree, my master's degree in education. I then met somebody. I went to America to do that same degree in America, started teaching in schools over there, came back to England after that, after we broke up, taught in schools over here, hated it, went into the private sector, and that's where I am now. Throw in YouTube there too. But all of those things came from me making the, well, frankly, brave decision of going, look, I know I won't have a job for a while if I leave this current job, but fuck that. I'm not going to unalive myself. You know, the very definition of insanity, you've heard it many times before, is doing exactly the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And that's what I was doing in London. I was doing the same shit every day and expecting different results. So in the end, I said, well, if this situation won't change, then I have to change. And I left. I stopped doing, you know, 90 hours a week, 100 hours a week. I stopped doing that. I came back home. I moved in with my parents. I was a bum for a while. I became a bum for 5 or 6 months until I got another bar job. But even then, I only took the bar job when it was a part of my plan to go and be a teacher. You know, I refused to do anything until it was a part of me being a teacher. Once all that was set in stone, off I went. And that was a lovely, very happy 5 to 6 months for me. Like, I sat there, I reconnected with my family, with my friends. I used my savings to, like, to get back into the hobbies that I love, you know, to get back into gaming and things like that. And then eventually I got my job, and I got my master's degree, And off we went. And it was great. Really cool time. Sometimes you need to be brave and make that decision. And again, it's only in extreme circumstances, but you not having any job and being broke for a while is better than the alternative of you not being here at all because your job has pushed you too far to the point where you snap. Okay? Alright. So, Karnak the Grim says, "Hey North, this is a harrowing tale of daring do, as you like to say. My name is Kara, and I've been a hobbyist for at least 10 years, mostly into 40k. That sounds like I am in Alcoholics Anonymous or something, but hey-ho. This nightmare is twofold. The first is about my lack of success in getting friends and dates. The other is something that happened in my local Games Workshop several years ago." Okay, alright. Sounds good. On to the first part, I guess. I am a lawyer, and quite a good one at that. I don't take any nonsense, and Warhammer is something that I do to really take the edge off of a long day. As such, I often go straight from work to my local store, where I take my sisters of battle and liberally kick as much ass as humanly possible. I love it. I've been described as attractive in the past and confident. I look a little bit like Gillian Anderson. Alright, you have my attention. If you wanted a head picture, the issue is... Sorry, if you wanted a head picture. The issue is, I've never been asked out. What? You've never been asked out? Like, ever. Am I going to the wrong place in the hobby store? Are the men there, like, not able to approach me? There are a lot of successful guys in there. My local area is quite well off, and a lot of the single dads at the store regularly turn up in suits after work to roll some dice. So what gives? People act like I'm some sort of ice queen, even when I'm trying my best to be friendly. Okay, okay. So... here's the dichotomy you're coming across now, okay? It matters to you, a woman, what job a guy has. You know? When you meet a guy in a bar, have you ever noticed, ladies, when you meet a guy in a bar, he doesn't ask you anything about how much money you earn or what job you have? Do you know why? Because we don't give a fuck. We don't give a shit. We couldn't give less of a shit what job you have or how much money you earn. Are you nice to me? Are you a good person? And are you attractive? Probably not in that order. Probably reverse that order. Attractiveness first. That's what we're thinking when we see you. If we see you in a suit, I'm going to be honest with you, Kara, when the guys in the store see you in a suit and acting like a girl boss, they probably think, yeah, she's more trouble than she's worth. I can't be bothered. I'm here to roll some dice. No, thank you. That's what they're thinking. I don't care how good looking you are. I don't care if you look like Gillian Anderson. I don't care. If you act like a girl boss and you're putting people down and you're in the store being boss bitch, not a lot of guys will approach you because they have stressful enough jobs going on themselves and they don't need it. They don't need it. They just go, no, more trouble than you're worth. Moving on. That may sound harsh, but yeah, so is life. Such is life. You know, I'm telling you. I'm just telling you the truth. Absolutely. Guys will look at you and go, no. Especially high rollers. Especially guys who are earning good money. Because they're working their asses off to get that money. What they don't want is boss bitch at home telling them what's what. Or, you know, reading them the riot act because, you know, she's top girl or whatever. They don't want that. Alright? You may say, well, that guy's weak then and I'm not attracted to him. Okay, well, die alone then. Because that's nearly every man in the world. Nearly every man in the world goes, listen, I work my ass off for what I have. I just don't want to deal with it. Don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with your attitude. I don't want to deal with your condescension. I don't want to deal with any of that shit. I'm just going to back away and you have your hobby space, I'll have mine. I don't want to deal with the headache right now. And plus, you have to then factor in the current state of the dating market. Men are shouted at for merely approaching women these days. They are lambasted and pulled over the coals and told they're abusers for simply approaching a woman in public. Which is the best place to do it, is in public. Because she feels safe, you feel safe, everybody feels safe. But no, you know, the amount of videos people see these days online of approaching women and being shouted at for simply looking at them. Again, can you blame them? If you walk into that store in a suit and you have that attitude that is coming across here, not a bad attitude, but an attitude of, I'm kicking this guy's ass at a game, I'm boss bitch, I'm loving it, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, if you go into a store with that kind of an attitude, the other guys in there are there for the same thing you are, to relax and get away from bullshit. And if they see a woman in there acting that way, and even if she looks really gorgeous, she looks like she's more stressed than she's worth, they have their own tranquility. I know guys who've built businesses this way. I know guys who have built really good careers. They've got their own house, they've got their own kid from a previous relationship or whatever, they're having fun, they get to do their hobbies when they go home, there's nobody ranting and moaning and bitching at them all the time, and when they see a person like you, a woman like you, they're gonna go, nah, because I have my fortress of solitude, and you're not allowed in it, because you're about to throw a fucking grenade in there, and I don't want it. That's how you're coming across to these men, just in your attitude, and there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with you wanting your own career and doing your own thing. I'm simply telling you the truth. Most men will look at you and go, no, too much stress, sorry. Too much for me. Don't want anything to do with that. Because, yeah, you're just going to stress me out and you're going to annoy me. And I just don't want it. Men don't want that. Men don't care what career you have. They don't. They just don't. They couldn't give less of a shit. If you're a bum, then fair enough. But if you say, I'm a cashier at Tesco, to me, I'm like, okay, sure. Some of the most gorgeous women I've ever seen have worked in, like, grocery stores. And I've asked them out and gone out with them. Or been turned down, you know, but still. I will try, because I don't give a shit what job you have. Right? If a really attractive guy works at Best Buy, or Tesco, or Walmart, do you really think female customers are lining up around the block to ask him out? No, because he works in Best Buy. And he works in these jobs that they don't find attractive. There's a very good reason, guys, why women, if they find you attractive, one of the first things they say to you on a night out, or if they've just met you is, so what do you do? So what do you do? What do you do? How much do you earn? Right? That's what they're trying to get at. What do you do? What do you have? That's why they ask those questions. And ladies, that's why men don't give a fuck, and they never ask that question. I've never known a man to say, so what do you do? They don't care. We don't care what you do. We love you for different things. What you bring to the table as a career, we couldn't give less of a shit about. Unless we're also bums. There are bum men out there who do give a shit about it because they want to live off of you. Right? No, most men out there don't give a shit what you do for a living, especially if they're earning good money themselves. They couldn't give less of a shit. And if you put a lot of your self-worth in the job that you have, you're never going to find a guy. Not one of any worth, anyway. You're never going to find one. Because they're going to go, you know what? No. You want your career? Fine. I want a woman who wants kids. So, bye. Bye. Right? Yeah, take your career. Go die alone. Hope you like cats. Hope you like cats. Off you go. Right? That's what men are going to do. That's why you haven't found anyone. Alright? So, maybe tone down the boss bitch attitude. Maybe tone down... Maybe go home... Right, in between jobs, because you've said here that you go straight from your job. So you're obviously dressed in a suit, you're dressed for work. Maybe go home and get changed first. Into like normal gear, normal clothes, and come back and lose the attitude. Lose the boss bitch attitude of, I must win, I must do this, I must be one of the guys. Right? Lose that attitude, just be normal. Be normal. If you do that, you will be approached. You will be approached. If you look like Gillian Anderson, like you say, you're a very good-looking woman, you're confident in yourself, but you don't mention your work, you don't mention your job, you're just there to have a nice time, and you've got nice clothes on, you will be approached. I don't even mean a skirt, I mean like just a t-shirt and jeans, you know? You will be approached, I'm telling you. But if you go in there with a suit on, boss bitch attitude, bullshit, most guys of any worth are going to look at you and go, my life's stressful enough without introducing you to it. See ya. And they're going to walk. Doesn't mean they're weak. It means they've got their solitude and they're very stoic and they value their own mind and their own mental health, right? They don't want you around there to screw it up for them. Okay, moving on. And now the actual main event, I guess. Our store manager for a long time was a guy called Jason, and he was the biggest tool I think I've ever come across in the hobby. The horrid thing was, he was actually very good at extracting money from customers and had a decent sized store that was kind of too big to fail. The local area, as I've said, was quite affluent with a lot of disposable income, and so Jason pretty much needed to chase customers away to even begin to fail with the store. The thing was, that's exactly what he tried to do most of the time. Let me explain. Jason would not allow any conversation within his earshot that was not about the hobby. If you made small talk about anything else, he would tell you that his store was not an appropriate place for such a conversation. So, if you made a comment about a Walking Dead episode, no dice. If you asked somebody if they wanted to play DayZ with you later on, nope. Essentially, any subject that did not result in sales for his cash register was banned in his earshot. He was around nerds, and so they were not going to stand up to him. The professional crowd, of which I was one, who went into the store still wearing suits from work, were never bothered by Jason in this way, as we were big spenders and would have told him to go fuck himself if he ever tried. We had the power. Jason was a coward, so he left us alone. My old manager would do something similar in terms of topics at the store. He got less draconian after a while, but if you ventured too far from the hobby in your discussions or whatever you were saying, he would step in and pull you back round talking about the hobby. Simply because, if I can't sell it, don't talk about it. I didn't agree with it, thought it was bullshit, thought it was, a ridiculous thing to try and do to your own customer base, but, people kept going back. And I used to say to the lads all the time who worked in the store that I was a staff member at, a lot of them still watch these videos, but I used to say to them all the time, if you don't like it, complain. And they did once, and Games Workshop never took it any further. So they just gave up and just went to the store anyway. And that's when I was like, okay, I need to either become a manager or leave. And I became a manager, and then I left like a year later, a little while later. But anyway, carrying on, he would treat his staff like absolute shit in front of people, calling them idiots, besmirching their painting skills, and the things they liked about the hobby. Jason was, of course, really into Space Wolves. What gives there? And when one of his staff members expressed an interest in collecting the same army, Jason responded in the negative, stating that, hey, you're not a good enough painter or player to collect wolves, Can you imagine seeing your army next to mine in here every day? I choose a different army, bro. Wow, I choose a different army, bro. Wow. Yeah, Space Wolves players, I'm gonna say this now, they get a very, very hard rep. And I've been a proponent of giving them that hard rep, mainly because I've come across so many douchebags in my time who collect that very same army. But I will also say, I've met a fair few lovely Space Wolf players over the years. Quite a few of them. So, it really does make me sad when I see them being besmirched in this way. When I see people running their name through the mud. Because here's a nice guy who wants to collect Space Wolves being turned down by somebody like Jason. When Jason, the fact that he even thinks that he is the arbiter, he gets to decide what other people do with their money and time. Go fuck yourself, dude. Go fuck yourself. This is the level of douche we are dealing with here. That staff member in question was Alex, a lovely guy who probably could have kicked Jason's ass if he ever got the chance, such was his size and the fact that he was very good at taekwondo and judo, okay? Alex could not do enough for anyone in the store. He was always helping, always giving good advice, and when Jason was not in, he would announce it was a store holiday, quote unquote, where you could talk about what you wanted in the store without judgment. Good times. I remember when Jason went for a 2-week vacation and the store ran like clockwork, but it was awesome. There was a 2-week campaign in the store, painting competitions, and non-retail approved music. All things Jason had banned from the store. And the store was heaving. So busy. When Jason got back, it went straight back to how it was. Half empty, but financially profitable. Sterile, unwelcoming. Wow. Now, I will say this. When Alex showed me the accounts, the store did indeed make more in those 2 weeks than it would normally make under a week under Jason. But not by very much. Okay, that's cool, that's cool. A nice balanced argument there. It just shows that this Jason's very good at extracting money from his custom base. You know. But it also shows that, yeah, it may not be wholly, massively getting more customers in and more money in, what Alex is doing, but it still works. It still works. You know, having a nice hobby, having a nice area where you can come in without judgment and just have a good time around the hobby, it pays off, dude. It pays off. So, the crux of the tale. Jason heads back in from his vacation and starts nitpicking around the store. The store looks cleaner than when he left, but I think Jason knew how hated he was and how the store would have been without him there for the 2 weeks he was off. He may have even had spies telling him what was going on. He was determined to find a fault in there. Anything that he could pin on the guys at all, he would go for. When he was berating Alex for not dusting properly, the place was spotless by the way, and I'm a neat freak girl saying that, I noticed that above Jason there were 10 empty Crusade carry cases that were ready to be either shipped out or pulled into the back that day, when another staff member turned up as it was a 2-man job to do so. If you know the Crusade case, it is a heavy piece of kit, and the pile above Jason was teetering. I stepped forwards to warn Jason, but I caught Alex's eyes and he opened them a bit wider, realising what was going on, and waved me back, while Jason was busy verbally laying into him about the dust at the bottom of the pile. Then it happened. Jason was looking down at the pile, looking down at the base of the pile as it came down on top of him with a loud metallic and plastic crash, slamming into him and into the back of his head, knocking him senseless and sprawling him on the floor. Alex looked down at him and said, in a deadpan way, "Oh dear, what on earth has happened?" Before he slowly moved to remove the Crusader boxes from Jason's sprawled body. He had taken a knock to the head and was bleeding a little, and so left the store to go to the walk-in clinic and get checked over, blaming his staff all the way for storing the boxes like that in the first place, despite telling them to do just that before he left for vacation weeks earlier. Unfortunately, he came back, and as far as I'm aware, he is still the manager of that store. His staff have gone on to better things. Alex now runs a successful bar in our local area and does little work for a very decent wage. I know because a friend of mine dated him for a while and told me he was an absolute gentleman on top of all of that. Anyway, thanks for reading my story, North, Cara. Jeez, there's something about catharsis in Hobby Nightmares that really does set me up for the rest of the day. Good God, that felt good. That felt really nice. I don't wish harm on anybody, of course, but like, this guy was a bully. This guy was an absolute bully. I tell you what, man. This shouldn't be a difficult job. Every single time you go to a Games Workshop, you should see people smiling and having fun, especially the staff, because it's not a difficult job to do. It's fun, it's great, and everybody can have a good time. And it really fucking irks me that people like this ruin it for everybody. Especially staff members who should never want to leave Games Workshop. That's how good of a hobby we have. You know, if you work for Games Workshop, you should never want to leave. Ever. You should always want to be a part of the Games Workshop experience at all times. You know? Just terrible. Anyway, I love you a long time. I will speak to you tomorrow, where we will be hearing from some store managers. We will actually be hearing from the Brain Trust. We'll be hearing from people who are on the Discord, and we'll be hearing from people who are in the WhatsApp group of the Games Workshop managers and local managers, and their, you know, traumatized nature of what they go through on a daily basis to make sure that you have a hobby to enjoy. We'll be doing that tomorrow. Should be really, really fun. And the topic is, what are the worst things that have happened in your particular store? Yeah. Should be an interesting one. We'll have puke stories, we'll have explosions, we'll have all sorts. It's all going on tomorrow. I love you a long time. I'll speak to you then. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you then. Have a good one. Bye now.